So the connection is clearly not going well. Is everyone's connection as slow as mine?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
You know, all week, Wi-Fi seems to be faster than keeping my connection in this place. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Because my connection is not slow.
On the Wi-Fi? I don't know what to say. Or rather, what I want to say is not to be recorded.
Mike will just say it anyway.
Right.
You make sure it's recorded.
But you say something off the record. What do you mean say it? Yeah, we recorded it off the record.
But then say it and then you say withdrawn. Right.
Withdraw the statement.
Okay, so here is the homework. This is the right assignment. Yes. So the homework assignment was for you to get working with the starter code and use the DOM methods to validate the fields, including checking for empty fields. And use the starter code. And you need to have a success HTML, or the code actually lists to join.html, but is everyone clear? It doesn't really matter. You just have to have the action attribute correspond to the name of the file. And then you may not use HTML5 validation, even if you know how for this assignment. HTML5 validation is very fun and easy to use, but it doesn't require you to use JavaScript, so that's why it's not part of it. But if you're not familiar with it, you should offline get familiar with it, because it's very handy for just validating in a very easy way if a field is required. That's what it allows you to do. All right. And so here's the code. Let's see, what can we talk about? Did everyone get an opportunity to look at the starter code? All right, so you know that the $sign here doesn't mean jQuery, right? It's just a convention because it's just a one simple letter, so it's easy to use. But you shouldn't really use a variable $sign on the same page as jQuery, or it's going to give you problems. So when you start using jQuery, name it differently. And so essentially what you need to do is you need to use first child and node value for you to be able to get the information from the form. And the other thing you need to do is you need to create a Boolean variable, because you need to keep track whether each of the fields was validated or not. So you can create a Boolean outside of your if statements, and then you can set it on true or false depending whether the value of the form is validated or not. These are the high-level steps of what you need to do. And let's see what else can I tell you. So the span is where you're going to, where are you putting these red error messages that display here? Maybe this is another hint we can give. Where do they go? In which element? No. Well, they go. I'll just answer my question. They go into the span element. So it's the span element is an inline element, and that's where you're going to place the error messages. And you can give it a class so that you can make it red. And I think that's pretty much what I can tell you as far as hints. And then the node value would be set to, if there is no error, what is going to be the node value set to? Well, the node value of the span
Oh,
The value of the text box?
is going to be an empty string.
Oh, okay.
It will be an empty string, but if there is a, so if then else, right? If the value is correct, then it's going to be empty. The span will be an empty string. Otherwise, it's going to be a, their message string. And then if you're, when are you going to submit the join our list? How are you going to determine whether you can submit the form?
Submit button action.
But when? There is a condition you need to do.
When all the other fields are true.
When all your booleans are true, only then will you submit the form. Otherwise, if they're false, then the required field was not entered properly. So these are the hints I can give you for the homework. And we started last time working with the node value, so let's review this example. And we're going to do the first child example today, and I think between the information I've given you and the samples we do, you have enough to think about and do your homework. Okay, so last time we did a node value and we ran it, but we didn't talk about it. So if I can find this code. Please bring up the node value example from last time. Looks like.
The exercise from last time, we were doing the grocery list.
Yes, we did several, and we discussed all of them except for the one node value. So that's the one we're going to run it again, and then make sure that everyone understands what's going on. So this was the example we did in class. And if you recall, the original grocery list had pine nuts here. And with our code, we replaced the pine nuts with kale. So that's the example we did. Now let's look at the code. And we're using essentially the same HTML and CSS. So as you can see in the HTML, the second list item is pine nuts. And here is our code. Okay, so would someone in the class like to go over the code? Line by line, and what happens? Dwayne?
No one else. I'll be that girl. Okay, so item 2 is document.lbfid2, which selects the second item in the list, which was pine nuts, and then it assigns variable EL text to item 2, which is pine nuts, first child, node value. It sets that node value, and then EL text equals EL text replace. So it's replacing pine nuts with kale in the node value EL text, which we determined to be item 2, which is the second item in that list. And then item 2 dot first child node value equals EL text, which is the second item. So it's replacing pine nuts with kale, and pine nuts is the second element on that list.
So we use an EL text because it's actually HTML.
We use EL text because the node value contains text.
Oh, all right.
So we learned that we can't directly, if we just get to the first child, that's a reference to the node, but to actually work with the node value, we need to then call upon node value. And also what we're seeing in this example is that we can both get information, get the text from the node value and assign it to a variable, and then later we can update the node value by assigning it some text. Thank you, Blaine. So this is in essence the process. You get your nodes and then you, as Aaron, I think eloquently put it last time, you do stuff with it, right? So these are the steps illustrated here. And you can do all kinds of stuff, such as getting the information from it, replacing it, and so on. Do you have any questions on this example? Yes,
I have a question about the first child.
okay.
What is the first child? Is it the text?
No, the text is never, it's the node. So let's look and see which node is the first child. So the text is a node value in itself. So in this case, if we go to, let's go to the get element by ID with ID of 2, which was our node value HTML. So we are at the list item with ID of 2 is what we got with ID, right? And then the child of this is the text, but it's a node, right? So it is the first child, but then to actually do something with it, you have to call the node value. It's not sufficient to just say first child equals kale. You actually have to use the node value, okay?
And you have to specify the alt text in the text now.
Say again?
And you have to specify that it's text below in JavaScript. You have to get there using the first child,
Right,
but then you also have to, at the bottom,
down here.
use alt text. Or is that just an element that we created?
Oh, this is a variable that we created.
Oh, I see.
Essentially, we're doing like a temporary, the alt text is like a variable that contains the value that we assign to it, and then we replace it, and then we assign it back. It's just the different steps it takes with JavaScript to accomplish this process. Let's do another one. Let's see. Let's do a node list. So I think that worked pretty well. Let's save as the HTML, save as node list.html. And then let's create our node list.js file. So we have three list items with a class of hot. Just note this for our next coding lines here. So we're going to have a variable hot items is equal to document dot. And we can use one of several methods. Let's use the query selector all. And then we're going to select a list item, all list items with a class of hot. So what this will do is it's going to store the node list in an array or a list, because there is more than one. And then if hot items length is greater than 0, so what we want to do now is we want to loop through each item, and then we're going to replace the class with a different class. So we're going to use a for loop. You can add a comment here, loop through each item in the list. Is everyone clear why we can use a for loop the way we're doing here with the list? Right. They just correspond. So it happens, they start at 0, they increment by 1, and we need to run through the length. So that's convenient and we can use it. And so close the for loop. And inside the for loop, we're going to have hot items of I. So this is a reference to the node list dot class name is equal to who. So we replace one by one the class for all of the items in the node list. And these were 3, so we expect 3 out of the 4 items in the grocery list now to be blue, right? So let me save all and try this. I know last time I was having problems with brackets refreshing, so let's see here.
Well, we gotta put node list in the HTML.
Oh yeah, I forgot to do that. Thank you. So, right. So in the node list, we need to change this file to node lists. Thanks. And sure enough, these are now blue. Any questions on this example?
Can I see the JavaScript?
Sure.
Yeah, I might have missed something.
Let's make sure this works for everyone, and then let's do an example with a child. For your homework, do you need the node value, or I sorry, give the answer out, but do you think you need the node value or the node list? Node value, because there's only one value for each input field, right?
I'm not sure it works, but I'm not sure I understand the less than product.
Oh, so this is going to be the ending condition. Oops. So on line 1, we'll use the query selector all. What it returns is a list containing the list items with a class of hot, and there are 3 of them, right? If you look in the HTML. So essentially it's returning these 3. And it stores them in the list, which is an array. And therefore, where is the JavaScript? Because it's an array, the array has length. And so we can say, we don't need to, we could just say 3 here, and that will be the same, 0, 1, 2. But we don't need to say the number 3, because we can just say the length. And no matter what the length is, it's going to work. Essentially, it's only going to replace as many items as there are items in the list. And that's what we accomplished in line 5. Is everyone there?
So an LI is a node, and inside that is the ID of 1, which is also a node. Is the class considered a node too?
The class is an attribute, so.
But they're like, if you go LI,
right.
then the text is the child, whereas the ID is the child. It's like.
Yeah, it's an attribute. So
It's within the same node.
Right. It's on the side. But the text is a node.
Yeah, there we go. It was.
The text inside each element is considered a different node.
So is that supposed to, can you show me what you look like?
Yeah, it should look just like that.
Looks like that?
So let's.
Not getting this thing to work.
And do you see why though? Do you see why it's doing these 3? Clear?
Because there are only 3.
Yeah,
The
I've just
last
been
one is
copying and
4.
pasting the same thing.
Right. And there are only 3 because in the
There are
HTML.
only 3 hops.
Only 3 hops,
Yeah,
exactly.
just repeat the exact same.
Got it.
Okay?
Yes.
Maybe a moment and then we'll do another.
Yeah, I don't get
Oh,
it.
that's not working. Yeah. I just have my graphic on, so it's little mistake.
Create carefully.
Oh.
I guess
Spelled like.
What was the issue? What did you misspell? Length. That happens a lot. Why don't you just use the dot, and then you don't have to worry about it?
Yeah. The dot.
I hate this kind of errors.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't pop up with the auto menu. Should it always? Or is there a way to?
Generally, after you do the period, like it's period and then you have like the first letter.
Yeah, it should do it.
What's the last?
Yeah.
So if you say hot, go to hot items at the end. At the end of the word hot items, give a space, then go, so press dot, and now do you see it just pops up and you can just double click and select it or single click.
Right. I am still not getting success at this. Is there a syntax error in here somewhere?
What is there? It's no answer.
That is right.
Okay. So let's do one with the child. Yeah.
Is the length greater than 0?
Well, we know, but we know because we saw it.
Yeah, there's some graphics that are supposed to be in this that she just didn't include.
It's just a practice. It's not going to work.
Yeah, this is a word. Just the last time I made these changes, all I told you was, also there's a tab icon. It says it's stopping at 50%. I caught a spelling error.
Oh.
All right, let's do another one.
Yeah, I just need to use that drop down menu thing.
Did you get it to work? Okay. All right, so close this. Let's do one with a child. So
Yeah.
The next exercise. Are we doing another?
yeah, but I'm going to just give me a second here. All right, so I'm going to give you a code share for the next example because it looks the same, but the white spaces have been removed from the HTML, and you can do it, but if we just copy it from here, then you don't have to worry about it. If you don't remove the white spaces, there are some issues with the methods we're about to use. If you leave a white space, it considers it a node in some browsers, and it's just essentially they're like bugs in the methods, okay? So to get around that, you remove the white space from the HTML, and then it's not considered a node. So when you copy this code, do Control-C rather than Control-X. So remember how last time we ended up
So it's about assignment for code.
so I'm going to post the link in week 5, and let's title it, let's see, rename.
In the modules.
Yeah, it's always in the modules in week 5. I'm going to name it code for HTML for child dot HTML. And actually just for child because it might not like HTML extension. So copy this.
We're creating a new HTML.
And then we're going to create a new HTML. Save as child.html.
I'm gonna write the description.
By child.
All right, so take a look in the CSS file. All right, we're going to use a class complete in our CSS file, and in that file there is a little icon we're going to set as a background image. So let's grab this as well. I'll go ahead and copy it in the week 5 so everyone can get it from the same place after I find it.
The CSS, right?
So just give me 1 second here.
It's that
Image.
CO5 CSS, right?
Yeah, it's in the CO5 CSS.
But we have to create an images file.
I'm going to give you the image to create. Yeah, so just
1 second.
1 second. That's right. I said this a lot, don't I?
I know you're busy. Walk and talk together.
So it's under complete. It's under images. Okay, so images trash icon trash.png. All right, so I just dragged the PNG file called icon trash.png, and this is also in week 5. So what you need to have to get started with this example is the HTML starter code from the code share, and then we also need this little PNG icon, which you're going to download and save in your images folder in your project. So you have your project.
Download.
And then in the project, you're going to say new folder images. And then put this PNG in it. And this is what it looks like. It's just a little trash can. And again, the reason we are going to need this file is because we have this complete here that the complete class is going to set the background image to this file.
Is the CSS source is same from?
It's the same CSS for the entire chapter, yeah. So you don't need to change anything. I'm just showing you.
You also need the King logo. The CSS refers to that.
Okay. Let's see, where is that?
The lion head.
Icon link?
No, King logo. If you scroll up to like the H1, it talks about background images, King logo.
Okay. Yeah, we can get that. That's not essential, I don't think, for what you're doing, but we can grab it. All right, so I can get this for you as well.
I'm gonna upload and take a look.
Yes. Yes.
Huh. Okay. Okay, here we go.
My track is not there. My track.
Sorry.
I'm not finding it.
Okay, no.
I think we can work without it. It's not actually, it's pretty, but it doesn't really have to do anything with what we're doing.
Okay.
So we have to go without the logo, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see my logo. I think just add the Image.
Yeah, we don't need to be too concerned about it.
Yeah.
We can work without it. So right now we have child.html. We have closed the white spaces here. And we have a logo, we have the image file, and what we need to do now is create our JS file, child.js. So new child.js. So start, or rather select starting point, and then find children. So remember that the children and all the relationship between parent, child, sibling are relative. They're not absolute, they're relative to where you're starting. So we're going to start with the, by declaring a variable start item. And the start item is going to be document get element by ID, by tag name. We could do by ID too, but by tag name. And so we want the first unordered list of the unordered lists. And the syntax, the grammar for doing this in JavaScript is the following. So when we say UL with an index of 0, that means get me the first unordered list on the page. Does this make sense? We certainly could put an ID there and get it by ID, right? That would be another option.
So this would be any list, right?
Well, let's take a look here. And so we have, if we have, so right now we only have one list.
But if there were two,
That's exactly right. If there were two, it would be the first one that it encountered. All right. And so once we're here,
does that mean the first unordered list, or does it mean first?
it's getting the list. This is the node, the list node, the unordered list node, right?
First item on the list, right?
This is the first unordered list. And then let's go ahead and start. So this is not the list item, right?
Okay.
This is the unordered list itself.
The whole thing. So,
Right.
so if there were a one, that means there would be two lists, two unordered lists.
If we had said one here,
Yeah.
we would have said, get me the second unordered list on the page. But we don't have one right now. But if we did, that would be correct. Right? And so now we're going to say, we're going to say a variable first item. And this is going to be a start item. So we are on the unordered list dot first child. So who is the first child of the list? We have to look at HTML.
ID1, the fresh figs.
Okay.
Child.
Well, the fresh figs is actually
Child of the.
That's
okay. You have to keep on remembering that this is another. This is not the child because this is considered the child, right? So the elements are considered children as well. So the first child of the UL would be this item. Yeah.
Would the EM be a sibling?
The EM is going to be a child of the list item because it's another element. And then the fresh is going to be another node, which is a text node.
So we want to pinpoint, like let's say the M, we would say like first child of first child, something like that.
You could do that. You could do that. All right. The reason I'm smiling is because you can always get it on by ID, right? But we're learning it's just, yeah, it is interesting and it's useful to know. Okay, so if I go back to the JS file, so this was the first child, and then we also would like to get the last item. And when we run them, it's going to become clear because there will be a visual change and this will help you see. So I want to get the first child of that UL, and also I want to see what is the last child. Last, so this was a typo. Here we go. So I got the first child of the UL and the last child. And now my step 2, change the values of the children's class attributes.
Last item and item.
Last item, yeah, thanks. And so now let's make some visual change and see what is what I was telling you, but it's always better to actually verify with your eyes. So we're going to say first child, first item dot class name. And we're going to set this to complete, which we saw there is such a class in the CSS. And then for the last item, we're going to set the class name property to full.
So we're assigning a class name to it without touching the HTML.
Right. We're changing the HTML to the JavaScript. That's exactly what we're doing. So I know you're probably still writing, but let me just run this real quick to make sure it works. And I'll let you finish and you can test it and we can talk about it. All right. So we can see this is what we're going for. And then you can, based on this, you can tell me who is the first and who is the last child. So make sure that, take a moment to make sure your code works.
Something
Oh.
code, and the code that I copied in the first place, I think is weird. This is what I copied into this.
That looks like something else. So let me get you, I'll copy it again in the same. Sure. Someone stole the HTML code again from the code share. This is not it. I'll get it from the source to make sure. Oh.
Oh, that's why. That's weird. King. I don't have the Lion King.
Yeah, I couldn't find the Lion King. Okay, Adam, so that's
okay.
Try now. Okay, so any comments or questions?
So Safari doesn't like white space.
Yeah, it has been the case that it hasn't worked in Chrome for me also. So I'll just strip it to the white space.
Yeah.
Okay.
My king.
Okay. Yeah, it's okay. We're not really doing anything with the logo.
Yeah. Just missing.
Okay, so who is the first child of the unordered list item?
So those people look like frustration is supposed to be gray, the first item is one of but like blue. I don't know what that is.
So the first item is one of list. And then positive is the first item.
Oh, I know what mine is working on the type of
The entire list.
Here we go. So is this like the type of the JavaScript? You don't have like an icon.
Because these are there's also so it's actually the bank. It's also
I don't see the last two lines.
Start quote,
Yeah, so if you can want to go.
close.
Let's draw the dome for this.
Or something like that.
You like it?
And then, last item, dot class name equals.
Well, we can. So do you else inside this dictionary? Yeah. So the H did.
Let's see what happens. I got
You
hung
can
up
give
because
an
I went back
H1
over to look at this and.
because they're all the same value, right? So you give an H2. You give a UL.
Oh, with the live preview thing, if you click it again, and then you just do Control S while you're in the HTML file, it'll, I think it'll well, it's, you.
Oh, that's good.
And the first item is
Totally did it that time. It's little syntax errors.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with using this, is that it doesn't have, doesn't automatically compile the code. So it
and the
doesn't show you
second
the
item is a
little
text
red
called
squigglies, you know?
Yeah, it's been my biggest issue, and I always try to go to get help after I've checked everything, but sometimes the thing's just not pulling up. Like, it wasn't pulling through the spelling errors. None of the errors that have yeah, that's a big issue.
Yeah, I used brackets for a while, but it's in
Yeah.
What's your
Life is
preferred?
the process of
I usually use WebStorm.
you give an instruction, you give a source that's not.
Do you use a different coding program for, say, HTML than you
That's
use for
something sort of
CSS?
interesting happened there, so
Same
when
one.
I closed the brackets up, my code didn't work.
Generally, those
back
links all sort of go in the end. So
They should.
it's support.
So that's because of the white space.
So the white, so one of the white spaces.
I've been getting
It's not the
feedback
worry,
from
but it's
various
just
people.
Good thing you talked about this. And then when I reopened, there was nice white space.
And I think in general, they actually have that student thing.
I have an extra question.
We
I
may
have a project for this class, and I want to. I know how to count subtotal, but I want to click the number. The subtotal will be automatic display, auto count. Yes, you have a resource that I can. Auto count. Auto count. It means that this is a number, but I only can click numbers.
Right.
By clicking the number, and my subtotal will be times some the resource I play in
I
there.
don't get this, I don't know where this came from, so I can work with it really to get you some code, but I don't get it.
When we do some math, we have to click the summit and to get the result. But in this case, I don't want to click summit.
You just want to
See
update
it, see how much I would buy, how much I need to pay before I turn in my order.
So, yeah, I mean, right now it's not the time, but.
Oh, yeah,
you
I
know
just
what I mean?
must.
Yeah, but you can probably use DOM, I just have to see your
DOM.
code, but that's kind of a different project,
Oh,
so,
I know it's different project.
right, sorry.
That's okay.
Just
Just
take up the
as a
concept.
reference resource. I can look at it.
Look at the source code, and maybe if we have time, if I'm still here in the lab, I'll look at it.
It might be because
Thank you. Anyway.
Okay,
older than this. If
or
you
send
create
email me the
a
code or something like that. You will just email me your source code. All right, are we ready to move on? Do you see how this might connect with the homework? All right, what else shall we do? Let's see.
How much longer till your meeting?
How about a sibling? Let's do a sibling example. Is everyone ready to continue?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you like to do a sibling example?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Let's see here. Here's another code share then. For this HTML, and I'm going to all right, so this will be HTML for sibling. So start a new file, please. Close this one.
This is for sibling or for child?
Sibling. Did I?
In the script it says child JS. Not really using.
No, I made you. I gave you a new code share. HTML for sibling is the one you want.
It's not the same one. It's a different culture one.
Right. Oops. Okay, so let's just take a look at the HTML. It's the same, except as you can see here, the white space has been collapsed. But otherwise, we have the same structure. And then we just need to create our sibling.js.
So what is name?
Sibling.
Already name. See, already in the source. You already added.
Yeah, but we need to create the file now.
Oh,
So new JS file named sibling.js. And then we're going to again select starting point and find siblings. Get element by ID of the element with the ID of 2. And then let's see who is the previous and the next sibling to this. As you can see, 2 is a list item, right? So let's see. Who might the siblings be? What do you think?
3 and 1.
3 and 1? Okay.
And 4.
So let's go ahead and select the previous item is equal to start item dot previous sibling. And next item, start item next sibling. And then we change them again as we did before and observe the results. So change the siblings, class, attribute. So previous item, class name. Complete. And next item, class name. Cool. Let me try this out, and then I'll bring back the JavaScript. All right. What else do we have? Let's see. I think there are 3 more examples I'd like us to do, if we have time. But do you? Is it working? I'm sorry?
Yeah, I want to make
Oh yeah, it's break time. I forgot about that. There's been so much fun this week that it's break time. So go ahead and take a 10-minute break.
Can I take a look at your outcome, please?
Yeah. I'm actually really out of it because I have allergies. Um, no, this is not it. Here we go. So did you get your device to work? Did you try this for the Android class?
No.
Somebody.
Didn't.
Okay. Do you have an Android phone or iPhone? Next time you should. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Next time you can grab one of the devices. On Thursday we are going to have to do some other projects, something else like review for the midterm and talk about chapter 6. But next Tuesday we can do some more device checkouts.
Okay, yes. Somebody.
guess by the time you come back, it will be almost time for me to go.
Feeling good about this one.
So strange thing just happened, but it's fixed. So when I downloaded your code, it looked exactly like the other times, but I finally decided to erase it and just re-enter the folder. And it worked.
Magic. I don't know.
Strange.
Yeah, it's strange. There's a meme, like a programming meme that says this programmer guy and says I have no idea why it's not working, and then later I have no idea why it's working.
Right. I think so. I was just like, I wish you did not stick stuff.
Does it?
I'm gonna miss you.
That's okay. Once you get a better IDE, it'll be okay. If it's just the spelling error and stuff.
Well, and yeah, thinking in terms of the way this is um, yeah, I just wrote like the word previous instead of prev item because that's what my hands wanted to do.
Well,
At least it was a catch.
yeah.
Yeah. Crow caught it. It said, yeah, that's not a thing.
Did you finish them?
I came close once because I was like scanning the net because the book didn't feel helpful. Or like, okay, explain this whole next child thing to me when it comes to, say, validation. I found a bunch of neat stuff, and I started, typing that in and reworking it to work in the thing, and then I discovered, wait a second, some of this is HTML5.
Yeah, I had to do some digging around on the internet to figure out how to get it. But once you figure out that you link the if-else statements to the span ID, so like the thing that's next to the text entry boxes, then
What exactly is span ID? I mean, I've been using it to some degree. I understand its context.
well,
Can I talk to you for a second?
the only thing
I got it. I
so
said
far
far.
like error, like exception handling and stuff. So I assume that it doesn't fill a certain requirement set in the span, then it'll throw error.
So spans come with two pieces of information, the check and the resulting successful.
I think so. I'm pretty sure. So what you have to figure out how to do is link each of the text boxes span to the error.
Yeah.
Or you like
Yeah,
set the,
yeah, you know, figure out a way,
you're
but
setting the
I
text
wasn't sure exactly
box,
what we're supposed to do with that next stuff.
like to some message.
Yeah, was that intended to be in the same span as the existing message, or is that a second span?
Well, by default, it's just an empty string.
Yeah.
So it doesn't show up next to the box like in the first page. But then, if it goes, use the if else to check whether or not the
So he did it. So you can.
but so use the if to check if the box is filled, and then if the box isn't filled, then you set the span of equal to an empty string. Right, so that it doesn't show up. Good to go.
We're trying to get like a message to pop up, so you can enter this info, it's good, or if you enter this info, it's bad, or whatever.
It's a span, not a.
Yeah. So you just have to figure out how to link the JavaScript to that span ID, because it's checking that text box in the JavaScript. So you're going to use an if-else statement. So you're going to say like if email address 1 is an empty string, then you're going to set the first child node value to some error message.
I see. Alright, I got you. So we've kind of worked on this thing, but
Yeah.
we'll say value's good.
It's just it's just a little confusing to figure out how
So
to.
I just wasn't sure what the end product was supposed to be. Yeah.
You don't have to make anything pop up if it's good, but just if it's good.
Awesome. Yes. About this.
Yeah, that is.
All right. Okay, let's see.
So I'm sorry, and the assignment for we use the source that you provide, or we need to create our own.
You start with the source I provide, but
Yeah.
you have to
Complete
you have to complete the JavaScript part of it.
Oh, I see. Looks really nice. Chapter 5.
All right, I think we have time for one more, maybe. And I thought it might be fun to actually add an element. I would like to do 3 more at least, but this one. And I will copy. The source code is probably the same, but I just don't want to take any chances, so I'm making a new code share because there's just a lot of little things that can be different. So here is a new link. We're starting again. This is HTML for add element.
Thank you. You come back.
If you look inside week 5, there is a new link to HTML for add element. And so please grab this code and then put it in a new HTML file. Save as add element.html. So let's take a look at this while you're typing. I'm going to run it real quick. Without the JavaScript, here's what we have. So again, that has nothing to do with us. Don't worry about it. The king found it, whatever it is. Okay, and so let's create the JavaScript. So save as add element.js. And we're going to create a new element and store it in a variable. So this is a new one. New EL is going to equal to document.createElement, which does exactly that. So we want to create a new, it takes an argument string tag name, so that's what it wants. We'll give it a list item tag name. And then we're going to create a text node and store it in a variable. New text. So variable new text is equal to document.create text node. Quinoa. Who likes quinoa? Russ, I know you must like quinoa, right?
Sometimes I really like it. Other times,
Not so much. All right, and then we're going to attach the new text node to the new element. And this will be new EL dot append child new text. And now we need to find where we want to insert, so other comment, sorry. Find the position where to add the new element. So variable position is equal to document dot get element by tag name, and we want the first unordered list again, like we did before. And the syntax for this is UL with index of 0. And then finally, we're going to insert the new element. Adam, is our recording still going?
Yeah.
Great. Into its position. So we take the position, dot append the child, new EL. I'm going to run this real quick and then let you finish typing. Hopefully this works because I'm running out of time. Well, sure enough, we have quinoa added to our shopping list. So if we just added the element list item, then we still have a list item there, but we actually want to add the text, so therefore we had to create a text node next. And so this is, I think that's a great example of both the power and the maybe not so great way JavaScript does things. And when you learn jQuery, I keep on saying that, but you're going to appreciate how much easier it is to do all these same functions with a lot less work.
So, a question about jQuery. Pardon my ignorance, but is it in a website used alongside JavaScript or in place of it?
It can be. It's a library built with JavaScript on top of JavaScript, and it can be mixed, but you can also use it as just for its own.
And do like full-fledged websites like Amazon, for example, use jQuery, or is it just?
A lot of people use jQuery. I don't know what Amazon does. They do a lot of backend stuff, so I don't know. But a lot of websites use jQuery, very big sites.
I was watching a video on JavaScript, and they're saying that jQuery is really helpful because you have differences between browsers of what they'll accept and not accept.
Right.
And so like with CSS, you're like, oh, they don't support that, but this one does. You have to like juggle around it. And so with jQuery, the reason people use it usually is because it just gets rid of that juggle, because it will go across browsers.
It's two reasons. I think I said it before as well. One is because it's a lot easier. Two is because it's cross-browser and you don't have to worry about it. Exactly right. I think I'm going to end the lecture here because I need to get going. So, did everyone get this example to work? Any comments or questions?
I got to work.
Okay, so you have a lap time, and then maybe you can start on your homework or whatever you need to do. But we've done for today, and I'll see you on Monday. And if you have any questions, just email me.
I think we'll have to change this.
All right.